Today is the day Mr. Evans was brought before the court on a tether violation. I've had an opportunity to review the tether violation request, and it says that Mr. Evans wasn't abiding by his curfew. He was in the exclusion zone, and so forth and so forth. Miss Stevenson.
Your Honor, Mr. Evans advises me that he did go to a location about 1 full city block away from the address that he's prohibited from going to. He went to a public place, Your Honor, because that's the last place where he had his wallet. So he was at a location about a block away from the prohibited address, looking for his wallet. Admits that is within the exclusion zone. He says he got a
Because I
phone
was
call.
wondering how was his wallet in the exclusion zone. That's what I was wondering.
That's the last place that he remembers having his wallet before he was arrested.
No, don't even. And he was saying it was still there. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Stevenson.
It wasn't. He did not find it there.
Right from the start, you can feel the judge's skepticism building. Anytime a defendant claims they accidentally wandered into an exclusion zone, alarms go off. And honestly, going back to the exact address you're banned from because of a lost wallet, that's the worst possible excuse you could bring into a courtroom.
He's since learned that they actually have his wallet in police custody, get a place to stay. And he was arrested. Mr. Evans actually told me he was arrested on the 2nd. He made it over to the Wayne County Jail by the 4th, which was yesterday, but he was actually, he says, taken into custody on the 7th, having had absolutely no contact with the prohibited address or the individual, the complaining witness, with whom he's prohibited from having any contact. Mr. Evans expressed to me he knows that he's scheduled to be in 36th District Court for a pretrial conference on March 6th at 8:30 a.m. He says he'll come to court in person. As soon as he did not go to the prohibited address, and as soon as he was told to leave the exclusion zone, he says he did that. Spent 2 days in jail for not quickly and fully complying with the tether agent's orders. So I would ask the court at this point.
Here, the defense tries to clean things up, painting Evans as confused, not malicious. But the problem is this: courts don't care about confusion. They care about compliance. And if your story already has gaps on day one, the judge is going to drill into every single one.
To dismiss the tether violation, I'd ask the court to consider removing the tether, Your Honor.
Why is the jail off video? All right. So he didn't spend 2 days in jail for not. What the devil? I guess that's why they was off video. Because they said, we gonna bring some other people in here. Okay, don't worry. It's all right. He wasn't in jail because he didn't quickly comply with the tether unit's request. That was a courtesy. That was a courtesy for them to call him and say, hey, I always feel like I can't say anything when the jail do stuff like this. Because remember when it was my defendant that destroyed the camera? Okay. There's one of my defendants in here that destroyed that camera. Okay, so he spent 2 days in jail because he went in the exclusion zone twice and violated his curfew. That's why he went in jail, not because he didn't comply quick enough. Ms. Ritter.
This moment tells you everything about how courtrooms work. The judge immediately calls out the jail for turning the camera off, something she's clearly fed up with. But she also shuts down the defense's narrative. Evans wasn't jailed for responding too slowly. He was jailed because he violated the rules twice, and judges hate when defendants play it down.
Judge, as to the curfew violation, I didn't see that actually delineated. It looks like when they got him, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, which is, that's within the curfew. So I didn't see the curfew violation, Judge.
Well, hold on. I thought, okay, so where did I get that from? I pulled it out of a hat.
No, I think they said that he's not abiding by his court-ordered curfew and that he entered the exclusion zone. But they said that it was on February 2nd, 2024 at 7 a.m. And I think it's curfew.
No, they said they didn't say well, it says see attached, but I didn't see anything attached. Let me just say that. It's just mentioned in the report that he was violating his curfew. They didn't say how because they said see attached, and the attached wasn't attached.
Okay. The
So
register says the tether is 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
What I'm saying to you, Ms. Stevenson, is you have no idea what they're saying about him violating the curfew because they never tell us exactly what time. They said on 2 separate occasions he violated the curfew and he was in the exclusion zone. But it's no, other than them mentioning it, it's no proof of it because I don't see the attack.
Now this is where the case gets messy. They're arguing about a curfew violation, but the evidence isn't attached. The judge hates this. Missing documents, missing timestamps, missing proof. It makes the whole process look sloppy. And when judges get annoyed with the system, defendants usually pay the price.
And yeah, I think we're saying the same thing, that they don't have anything in support of the allegation that he's violated the curfew.
Okay. And then when they arrested him at 700 hours, or they said on February 2nd, they noticed he wasn't abiding by the thing, or February 4th. And then the jail unmutes. Okay, so that's that. Ms. Ritter, any response?
Yeah, so just according to the report, I'm just going to ask the court to continue Mr. Evans' bond and not remove the tether at this time.
All right, so here's the thing. This is how I feel about tethers. I don't know that they're necessary for these types of cases. Right. And then when the magistrate puts a person on a tether, sometimes they get to me right away and ask me to remove the tether. And then sometimes they don't get to me right away. And then when they don't get to me right away and the defendant is on tether and they violate the tether, then I say, oh, they probably should be on tether because they're violating the tether. They're not following the instructions. The fact that he thought that his wallet was in the exclusion zone is no excuse for going into the...
This is the judge's strongest point. Your wallet being in the exclusion zone is not an excuse to go into the exclusion zone. She even says she won't take his word for it. Why? Because defendants use excuses like this every single day. The judge is making it crystal clear. Intent doesn't matter, actions do.
The exclusion zone. His wallet could have been on the porch of the person who he's prohibited from being in contact with. And guess where his wallet was going to stay? On the porch of the person he's prohibited from being in contact with, unless and until he got permission from the court to go to the porch to get his wallet. But what we don't do is go in the exclusionary zone without permission saying, oh, I was looking for my wallet. Who cares? Of course I'm going to take his word for it. Oh, of course I'm not. Of course I'm not going to take his word for it because there's no reason to go into the exclusionary zone. I really want the county to stop. I just want them to stop. So I don't even know why I don't even know why we would put a jailer in a place where other jailers are going to have to walk in front of them 100 times to be on camera for court. So let's just shorten this up because that is probably going to send my rocket up to the moon the next time they walk past in front of the camera or turn off the camera immediately while I'm talking to a defendant. So that's just ridiculous, but it's an issue I suppose I'll have to take up with Chief Dunlap.
This part is wild. The judge goes off on the jail staff for walking across the camera like it's a TikTok live. You can actually hear her patience evaporate. And when a judge gets this irritated, it never helps the person facing charges.
I'm not going to remove the tether. Anything further, the tether remains.
So thank you, Your Honor.
The bond is reinstated. The tether remains. We'll see him on his next court date. Ms. Stevenson, you're muted if you're talking.
Thank you, Judge. Could we have the curfew canceled if the tether remains?
Yeah, I guess so. But, well, he was violating the curfew, though. He wasn't paying attention to the curfew. No, anyway, he needs to follow instructions. He needs to learn how to follow rules. But well, we can't, no, they won't let us just take away the tether. I mean, the curfew. They want us to have a curfew. So what is his current curfew?
So I would ask who is they, but the curfew is 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
What you mean, who is they? The people who do the tether so that they can monitor whether the people are in compliance with the tethers.
So
he need a curfew. So if you bring that issue up on somebody who wasn't violating the curfew.
I understand, but okay. The curfew said it's gonna let the tether, it's gonna let the police know and the jail know whether or not Mr. Evans is someplace where he's not supposed to be. So, and
during
it's
the
working.
Hours that he's not supposed to be there. He's gonna have a tether. What does he need to be out in the middle of the night for?
I don't know that he needs to be out in the middle of the night, but
not.
I don't know that there's
the tether. He should have stayed in the house then. He should have stayed in, and then I would remove the tether today. But he didn't. So
she's not removing the tether, and honestly, you can see why. Evans already violated it twice. If you're on a tether, you don't get oops moments. You follow every rule like your freedom depends on it. Because it does.
Mr. Evans does actually, I don't have any work on here or anything like that. So that's my argument, that the incident is alleged to have occurred. Sorry.
All I asked you was, what is his current curfew? Mr. Flanagan, what's the current curfew?
I'm showing 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Your Honor.
All right, so who you? He looked like he yelling at me. I ain't gonna appreciate it, but the jail can unmute.
Mr. Evans,
look like he's yelling at me and slamming his hands down.
Mr.
I don't have.
All right, Mr. Evans. Please, Mr. Evans, please protect your right against self-incrimination and remain silent, sir.
The moment the judge sees Evans getting heated, she shuts it down instantly. In court, body language will convict you faster than evidence. Slamming hands, raising your voice, judges treat that as disrespect.
Well, the reason he violating the curfew is because he just told me he doesn't have a curfew, which means that he was probably talking when the magistrate gave him the curfew and he wasn't paying attention to getting the curfew. So he has a curfew from 10 to... You do! Stop saying it! You do! You did!
I have my paper that says no curfew, Your Honor.
Mr. Evans, please protect your right against self-incrimination.
Well, then I'm not going to... Since he has a paper that said he didn't have a curfew, then he can go with that. And then they can pick him up again. Because he don't want to listen. He doesn't want to listen. So he can keep telling me what he didn't have. He don't want to listen. So this is what I'm going to say. The bond remains the same then. And if he think he doesn't have a curfew because he doesn't want to listen, then he's going to go back out there and get arrested again. He's going to go back out there and get arrested again. So it's no need for me to change what he doesn't think he already has.
Evans insisting he didn't have a curfew is the ultimate sign he wasn't listening. The judge tries to protect him by telling him to stop talking, but he keeps going. Once you argue with a judge about the rules, you already lost.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, Mr. Flanagan, don't put in the chat that there's a curfew from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. because he said he didn't have a curfew. So I was going to change the curfew, but he said he didn't have one. And so everybody thinks he has one except him. So the imaginary curfew that the magistrate set from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. remains in effect. But to Mr. Evans, it's imaginary. Anything further?
Nothing on behalf of Mr. Evans, but if Mr. Evans, if you go back to the breakout room, then
And here's the perfect ending. Everyone knows he has a curfew, except him. The judge basically says the curfew is imaginary to Evans, and keeps it anyway. This is classic courtroom irony, and it shows how quickly things spiral when a defendant refuses to listen.